Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulillah. We'll continue reading from Imam Al-Ghazali's Jawahir, the Juz of the Qur'an and Spares. In this session, inshallah, we read Surah Al-Balad. Al-Balad, the city, the town, is a reference to Mecca al-Mukarramah. And Imam Al-Ghazali chose 10 verses from the surah, 11 to 20 as pairs. So we read Allah and comment as we have done so far. أعوذ بالله السميع من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم لا أقسم بهذا البلد وأنت حل بهذا البلد لا أقسم I do swear, I do take oath by this town, by this city, meaning Mecca, and part of the oath وأنت حل بهذا البلد, even though you are subject. One of the translations, okay, and a translation is an interpretation. So let me mention the translation or a translation, and then comment about what's the appropriate, inshallah, meaning. So I do swear by this city, even though you are subject, meaning the Prophet Muhammad, you are subject to abuse in this city. He and his companions were abused, were tortured. There was torture, there was persecution. We talk about the very first cases of Islamophobia taking place in Mecca right at the very beginning. As is expected, no prophet was ever accepted with open arms, and people were never euphoric, because a prophet, by definition, brings they are revolutionary in a sense. They bring dramatic change. The Meccan leaders, they realized that this is the end of their leadership, but it's the end also of their pagan, polytheistic, religions. The interpretation that I do swear by this city, meaning of Mecca, rather than an even though, and because this balad is a balad haram. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala decreed that it will be a sanctuary from the very beginning of the universe. That's one thing. And because the Prophet ﷺ, basically hal sakin, because of you residing in this town, so it's an added honor. And it has been said that the Prophet ﷺ, for being in Mecca, for living in Mecca, for residing in Mecca, for dwelling in Mecca, it became Mukarrama. And because he migrated to Medina, it became Munawwara. So it's about the status of the Prophet ﷺ. زادها الله تشريفا وتكريما. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala increased its honorable status by the fact that the Prophet ﷺ dwelled in Mecca. And it's really divine. It's divine will. وَوَالِدٍ وَمَا وَلَدٍ, and by every parent and their child. There are three possible interpretations. The first one is general, like, every parent and every child. That's general. The second interpretation is that it's about Adam alayhi salam and his offspring. That's another possibility. The third one, which it has been said that this is more appropriate because of the context here, because the first two verses are about Mecca. Then it's appropriate to speak about Ibrahim, Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salam, for he is the father, Abu al-Anbiya, the father of the prophets. Allah astafa Adam wa Nuhan wa ala Ibrahim wa ala Imran al-Alamin. So it's the family of Abraham who were chosen as a family of prophets. And we know that Prophet Muhammad is the descendant of Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salam, descendant of Prophet Abraham, through Ishmael, and you have the line that goes through Isaac, and thereafter Jacob, who's named as Israel, alayhim salam ajma'in. So the third interpretation, Walid wa Walad, is about Ibrahim alayhi salam and his offspring, his children. And we know that Prophet Muhammad is Ibn al-Dhabihain, the story about his father. But the story about the child to be sacrificed is about Sayyidina Ismail alayhi salam. And in the story of the Mi'raj, the ascension, night journey at night, and then ascending to heaven, Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam saw Ibrahim alayhi salam, Sayyidina Ibrahim, and he said that the one who looks like him most, like more than anybody else, is your sahibukum, meaning himself. So inshallah, it's about Mecca being Al Quran, Ibrahim alayhi salam being Abu al-Anbiya, Abu al-Dhifa, and Abu. So the ancestry of Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Now the answer. So oath all the way to the وَوَلِدُ وَمَا وَلَدْ, and by every parent and their child. Here is the جواب على الإنسان في كبد. Indeed, we have created humankind in constant struggle. You struggle, you struggle, you will struggle, you struggle in the womb of your mother. You struggle to get out. Once you get out, you struggle immediately to breathe. You'll struggle to all the things that were not needed when you were in the womb of your mother, now they are needed. You struggle to adjust, stomach ache. There are babies who have very hard time, and you grow up struggling. You struggle to study, you struggle, and you have. If you study, you will struggle. If you don't study, you are going to struggle, and you're going to struggle in big. If you want to be healthy, you struggle. Exercise, yeah. You control your intake of food. You just take as much as you need. So that's one struggle. If you don't lead a healthy life, you will struggle, and you struggle in big because you might become obese. You don't have if you don't play sport, you are going to be weak. Weak muscles, weak bones, weak. If you go to work, you are going to struggle because you're going to put 8 hours every day at least. You are going to commuting to work. The difficulties, it could be the accidents, the work accidents. It could be the a boss that who's not nice, making your life not easy, difficult. And if you don't go to work, you are going to struggle. How you are going to make are going to pay your rent, how you are going to pay for health insurance or health care, and putting food on the table and all the. So you are in both cases you are going to struggle. Choose your struggle, but you are going to struggle anyhow. If you get married and have children, you are going to struggle. If you don't get married and you are going to struggle. Constant struggle. أيحسب أن لن يقدر عليه أحد. Do they think that no one has power over them? أيحسب أن لا يقدر عليه أحد. And this is the difference between يحسب ويحسب. Here, think. أيحسب to calculate, that which is not really the issue here. يقول أهلكت مالا لبدا. Boasting, I have wasted enormous wealth. I have. أيحسب أن لم يره أحد. Do they think that no one sees them? Now we have reminds us of his favors. Have we not given them 2 eyes, a tongue, and 2 lips, and shown them? Now, let's first. ألم نجعل له عينين. Have we not given them 2 eyes to see? And most of your information comes from through your eyes. ولسانا وشفتين, a tongue and 2 lips to express yourself. Because really it's the movement of your tongue, the position of your tongue, the position of your lips. In terms of speaking, some sounds are labial, some sounds are labiodental, etc. خلق الإنسان علمه البيان. One of the most magnificent things about the ability to speak. There are animals that can make certain sounds, certain communication, but only human beings have this ability to communicate and to be creative. Now, وهديناه النجدين. There are scholars who said that we have shown them the 2 ways, meaning of right and wrong. The road that leads to paradise, the road that leads to hellfire. The etymology of the word Najd is like a high plateau, a high place. This is why Najd is called Najd in the Arabian Peninsula. Is it about the 2 ways? Why would the Quran call them 2 high places? One might understand if the road to paradise would be called higher, but both here are on equal footing. The Najdain. Let's basically put it this way: the eyes are they are physical, physiologically they are part of of what human beings have, human physiology, anatomy. The tongue and the lips are the same. وهديناه النجدين. It has been said that this is about instinct, the natural disposition, whereby a baby after birth is guided to the to breastfeed from his mother. So here about it's about the mother's breast being higher, like simply being raised above the rest of the body compared to the breast of male. وهديناه, it is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who guided, put this innate ability to breastfeed. Why? Because it's not something that you can teach. And if say that if it were just simply for the sake of the argument, say that is something that belongs to teaching. How you are going to teach a baby who needs that milk immediately? How are you going to teach the baby to breastfeed? What kind of language you are going to use? So it's more likely that it's about the this innate, this natural disposition to breastfeed. فَلَا اقْتَحَمَ الْعَقَبَةَ. If only they had attempted the challenging path of goodness instead. Al-Aqaba is a difficult path of there's something like an obstacle on the road. This is the challenging path. وَمَا أَدْرَكَ مَا الْعَقَبَةُ. And what will make you realize what attempting the challenging path is. Okay, now we have the following acts. First one, فَكُّ رَقَبَةٍ, is to free a slave. Manumission. And if you follow the Quranic reference to or references to manumission, you'll find that in several in different contexts and on several occasions. The penance, if you will, is to set a slave free. Manumission. As if the Quran and the Sunnah, because the Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, the first caliph, the Prophet's father-in-law, father of Ali, the first man to become Muslim, he spent his fortune buying slaves who became Muslim and setting them, of course, free. So setting the slaves free is part and parcel of the Islamic worldview. Enslavement was something that existed around the world, but we can see that how, if we follow the details, one might be able to say comfortably that really the Islamic worldview aimed at emancipation one way or the other, permitting self-purchase. The Prophet ﷺ, when one slave went into a contract to purchasing himself by doing a certain labor, the Prophet ﷺ asked his companions to help their brother to perform the task required related to agriculture. So setting a slave free literally is untying a neck. That's literally what it says, as if one is tied like the way you tie an animal from its neck. So here you are going to untie. It's the manumission. أو إطعام في يوم ذي مسغبة, or to give food in times of famine. Masghaba is about, yes, famine, of course. It's jua, it's famine. When you have drought, it's famine. Feeding when there is famine, hungry mouths. But it's not only naturally, famine because of natural causes, drought, or it could be that certain weather could lead to famine. Political reasons, like people becoming refugees, they need to be fed. أو طعام في يوم ذي مسغبة. يتيم, to an orphaned relative. أو مسكينا ذا متربة, or to a poor person in distress. ذا متربة, the etymology of the word matraba is from turab, from literally they own nothing. It's just like earth. No property, no wealth, nothing to sell, to feed yourself. ثم كان الذين آمنوا وتواصوا بالصبر وتواصوا بالمرحمة, and above all to be one of those who have faith and urge each other to perseverance and urge each other to compassion. Compassion, okay. Marhama, may be merciful. The Prophet ﷺ said, "Irhamu man fil ardi yarhamkum man fis sama. Man la yarham la yurham." Be merciful to those on earth. The one in heaven will be merciful to you, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Who is not merciful will not be recipient of mercy. The Prophet ﷺ was described in the Qur'an as a mercy to the world. and by extension, his ummah should be the ummah of mercy. So ummah al-rahmah. You have ummah al-din. So ummah al-aqidah. You have ummah al-ta'aqud. The when you talk about politically, he would like to see the ummah unified. Ummah al-shahada al-ghayr, to be the whole ummah being like a witness, and the ummah of mercy. Why not? أولئك أصحاب الميمنة. These are the people of the right. Right, they will be as the opposite of those who will receive their books with their left hand, and those who will end up in hellfire. It has been said, أصحاب الميمنة. Here we have some, of course, acts, but you still have the مقربون, those who are closest to Allah. They are going to, who will be brought near Allah on the day of judgment. Nearness, not in a physical sense. وَالَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا بِآيَاتِنَا هُمْ أَصْحَابُ الْمَشْأَمَةِ. As for those who deny our signs, they are the people of the left. عَلَيْهِمْ نَارٌ مُؤْصَدَةٌ. The fire will be sealed over them. Sealed simply is that this is the end of it. And the people of hellfire will have one call to the angels at large. They will have a call to Malik, the angel guard of hellfire, and the last call to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, after which they will be told, "Ikhsa'u," do not speak, and they will never do. They will simply endure they will suffer, they will be in hellfire. It's everlasting. Suffice, inshallah. And in the next surah, the next session is going to be Surah Al-Shams, the sun. Till then, سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.